Who can be running back 1 in 2024? The truth is, Gibbs can. So can Breece Hall. So can Bijan Robinson. So could CMC. There are no wrong answers here, but there are definitely reasons why you want to bank on this guy as your running back 1 in 2024. You want to have a certain amount of Breece Hall shares, a certain amount of Gibbs shares. There's no right or wrong answer yet, but this guy has proven that he can be the number 1 overall running back in fantasy football, and I'll show you some numbers to help prove that case. But we also have a little side bet. Signasty brought this up on a tweet from this Lions reporter that Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra have a nice little wager going. And Jahmyr Gibbs is able to buy whatever he wants on Amon-Ra's dime if Gibbs can get 1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing in the same season. So he says he wants to break his bank. He wants to get a house. He's excited to make Amon-Ra St. Brown pay for that little wager. We've got other news. Aiyuk. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff ranging from I don't know. We got like 7-8 things we're going to cover. So file on in. Phone calls will be open. The Fantasy Football Show breaking news show, the Monday through Friday 8 p.m. Eastern show, every single Monday through Friday. That show begins. Got some marker on my finger. Begins right now, pal. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So kind of a slow news day today, but that does not mean there isn't stuff we could cook up and talk about. I also have a Deebo Samuel video coming out tonight or tomorrow. Kilpatrick with the first super chat of the day. Smitty is the GOAT. No, you're the GOAT, Kilpatrick. Appreciate you. And first $20 hauler, we immediately play the Keon Coleman video drop. So get ready for that. This is a tweet from Eric Woodward, who I believe is he's a Lions reporter. I forget where he's a reporter for what exact magazine or whatever, but Jahmyr Gibbs if he gets to 1,000 yards receiving and rushing, so 2,000 yards, 1,000 in each category, St. Brown's going to get him whatever he wants, and Gibbs is going to try and break the bank. Now, I'm not sitting here saying he's going to have 1,000, but he is one of the top 2 or 3 players in the National Football League that would be capable of this kind of feat. And when we look at what Gibbs did last year, it's crazy when you think about the fact that this guy's just scratching the surface. And you look at his game log and you say to yourself, okay, this man didn't get used in week 1, didn't get used in week 2, didn't get used in week 3, week 4, didn't play week 5, didn't play week 6. He didn't play at all until he got to week number 7. He was running back 3, running back 1. He had a bye week, running back 2, running back 3. He was a top 3 running back in 4 straight games as soon as they unlocked him. And you're going to say to me, Smitty, but Gibbs was playing without Monty. When Monty comes back, it's all going to be game over, Smitty. No, not true. Let's try and put these right over one another and see if we can get this to line up. Here we go. That's about as good as I'm going to be able to do it. That's actually perfect. This is where Gibbs gets injected into the lineup, right? Right at this week number. I'm sorry, right here. Week number 7. Monty doesn't play. Okay, yeah, you got me there. He was running back 3 and running back 1. Monty wasn't there. But the bye week came and went, and Monty was back on the field in week number 10, and he played well. He was a top 12 running back, but Gibbs was still the same Gibbs. He was still running back 2 overall in fantasy football. The next week, Monty was fantastic. He was number 13. Gibbs was number 3. Now, Gibbs and Monty both went through a slump right here. This is a Detroit Lion problem in weeks 12, 13, and 14. This is not a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Monty problem. It wasn't like Monty took over and did anything that made Gibbs have a bad game. Gibbs returns to top 15, number 3. And again, this is a Lions problem in week 17. Don't worry about week 18 at all. Week 17 was a Lions problem. This guy was running back 5, 6 times. He was a top 3 running back 6 times, and he didn't get going until week number 7. There is a world where this guy could have something along the lines of 2,000 total yards. The question is 1,000 of it receiving? That will be the wild thing that this guy could bring to the table that we've never seen from a running back in a long time, in terms of the power he can pack in terms of receiving and rushing at the same time. Christian McCaffrey has been the best thing we've seen in decades, potentially, in terms of what someone can do in both of those categories. This might be the handing of the torch over to this guy, and he has 1,800 total yards this year, and he works toward trying to make Amon-Ra pay that he ever made that bet with him. This is the number 1 offensive line in the National Football League, as I have down here in yellow. The number 1 offensive line in all of football. For a guy that was tied for 4th place for having top 10 running back finishes, and he didn't play really at all in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he was tied for 4th for top 10 running back production. What in the hell are we talking about? Oh, let's get some more data out, Smitty, because I don't feel satisfied enough. Well, how about this? Tickle me this. Who is the best running back in yards per carry coming out of 2023? Jaylen Warren, 5.3, and he is absolutely a sleeper. Jaylen Warren might be on the Moon Man list by the end of the day. Wouldn't shock me if it's by tomorrow, end of the day. I don't know. In fact, I got to write this on the board because I don't want to forget that I need to make some Jaylen Warren content. Warren might be a Moon Man by the end of the day. This video is also going to drop probably today or tomorrow, just so you know. Where was I at? I was at Jahmyr Gibbs' profile, wasn't I? There we go. Jaylen Warren, 5.3. Who was right below him? Jahmyr Gibbs. Who was right below him? Kyren Williams. These are the 3 best running backs, or 4 best running backs. McCaffrey at 5.4. Warren at 5.3. Gibbs at 5.2. Kyren Williams, 5.0. I mean, Gibbs is a monster. He's a top 3 running back in yards per carry, and everyone likes to coin him as this. I don't know if he's going to do well between the tackles if he gets the full go, Smitty. Oh, let's take a look at this. 20-plus yard runs. James Conner and the Cardinals have that on lock. That's why I love Benson and Conner cuffed together. That's why this is one of the most intriguing cuffs in all of fantasy football 2024, this Conner-Benson situation. Don't sleep on it at all. But who was number 2? Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, there's Achane. Look at Achane sitting there. Look at Breece Hall. 20-plus yard runs. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, without playing much at all in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Had 10-plus, 20-plus yard runs. There's so much. This is not cherry-picking data. This is merely me telling you how amazing this guy is, that he had a playoff stretch right here of running back 4, 2, 4. That he scored 1 touchdown in each of these games. Against San Francisco, he scored. The divisional game against the Bucs, he scored on the ground. And against the Rams, he scored on the ground. Every single game, he rushed for a touchdown, which is kind of like trying to convince somebody that he is not playing second fiddle in the running touchdown department to Monty. I'm not saying Monty can't have an amazing year. I'm not saying Monty can't have, 10, 11 touchdowns on the ground. But I am telling you that this is, in a worst case scenario, whoever's on the field in the rotation, that they will do the rotation that we want, the rotation that we need, the rotation that gave you these numbers right here. He's in a rotation from week 10 on. running back 2, running back 3, running back 3, running back 3. He was a top 3 running back 4 games from week 10 on, in 4 games in a rotation. I don't want to hear that Monty is going to hold him back at all. It doesn't make any sense. You're running your mouth and no one cares about what you're saying if that's what you're saying, because it doesn't make any sense. We have the proof right here. Not to mention, we have data and science and biological theory that has been conduced and conducted into a molecule structure that no one understands but someone on this channel. And I'm going to show you that science right here that proves why he's going to be so good. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. Gibbs is coming for everybody. And those of you that think he's going to be impacted by Monty, you're fooling yourself. And what I was trying to say when I sidetracked myself is that this guy is going to not just be getting goal line touches, he's going to be the running back 1. And if he's on the field and he marches the team down to the 5-yard line, in the beginning of the year, weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he would come out. Monty would go in. The touchdown specialist would go in. Everybody said, Smitty, you're so wrong. How dumb do you feel about pumping up this guy, Jahmyr Gibbs? I drafted him in round 3 because of you. I'm going to unsubscribe to your channel because I don't take accountability, Ian, and I'm upset at you and I'm mad at you, and I have 6 weeks of proof here. Smitty, you're an absolute joke with your Jahmyr Gibbs prediction. It cost me everything. I hate you, Smitty. Blah, 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 blah. 6 weeks of nothing. I am absolutely displeased with you, Smitty. And then boom, this man gets his shot. Doesn't matter why it happened, how it happened. He got it in week 7 and 8, and he never looked back. Monty came in. Anytime Monty got down to the 5-yard line, they probably give Monty the ball. However, Gibbs did come in once in a while and spell him. But for the most part, Gibbs is in the game. Gibbs stays in the game. And that's what people need to understand. The important takeaway here is that transition has already happened, and you got proof of it in the most important games of the year. In the playoff games where he scores 1 rushing touchdown in each of the 3 games. That's all you need to know. Every piece of data on here is not cherry-picked type of information. This is the easiest amount of collecting data that I can ever ask for. I don't have to go trying to find something to tell a story. This is what it is. He was running back 10 off of very little production at all to start the season. He was the only running back better than him in top 3 and top 5 finishes was Christian McCaffrey. And he tied McCaffrey with top 3 finishes with 6 of them, and he didn't play weeks 1 through 6 much at all. Best offensive line, all of the data you need, 11 touchdowns, very little work, top 3 in yards per carry, number 1 offensive line. What are you even hesitating for? This is a top 5 overall pick, and I'll tell you right now, if I'm on the clock at number 5, number 6, I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm not looking back. He's Smitty approved. Let's go.
Mashed potatoes! Yeah, buddy. You've just been Smitty approved.
So that's that. Let me put all this over here in the corner, the Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown situation, which is absolutely fantastic. We have more clarification on the Brandon Aiyuk dapping with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Yesterday we reported on the video clip where Aiyuk walks up. Here's a screenshot. This is from Adam Schefter's X account. And not only do you see that handshake, but they turn it into a dap. They hug it out, and Shanahan proceeds to pat him on the back about 2 or 3 times. They just saw each other the day before. This is absolutely a strange greeting for 2 people that just saw each other. So something was being, presented in a congratulations type of fashion. Whether it was you deserve this, go tear it up with the Commanders, or you deserve this. Glad we were getting the contract done. But this was not a, hey, what's going on, man? So glad to see you holding in again today. Have a good day. See you over on the sideline next to the water cooler. Did you bring your backpack? Is that a Jan sport? Like, what else are they going to talk about? He just saw him, and he continues to hold in, and you're going to, what, be excited to see him? I don't think so. But Schefter's telling us different, and I don't buy what Schefter's saying, but I don't know that I know what's going on, because I don't. None of us do, but Schefter said this. Shanahan, okay, and this comes from Shanahan as well, though, so it's not all Schefter's fault. Schefter's reporting what he's being told, and what he's being told is it was a nothing burger. But here's what Shefty said. He said, Shanahan on the hug he exchanged earlier this week with Brandon Aiyuk then garnered national attention. And that's just usually how we greet each other, honestly, said Shanahan. You guys would see maybe a lot more hugs in here if we had film for you guys, but it's not on Hard Knocks. This is wild because we're hearing a lot of different things right now from a lot of different people on Instagram, on Twitter, hack type accounts that are not legitimate at all, okay? And there are a lot of people that try and pretend they're a news creating content producer because they started an Instagram and their mom was making meatloaf. They stayed one night in the basement and got a lot of followers somehow, some way. Maybe they're good at graphics, and now they're an Instagram reporter. They have no credentials. They've never written for a big-time site before. They don't have any news experience, no journalism degree, nothing. They just sleptwalk into a bunch of followers, so good on them. That's amazing. But a lot of people are trying to make their name on guesstimation work, and it doesn't work. Just because you see a dapping and you say to yourself, oh, now I can guess that this is going to happen. According to my sources, you don't have a source. None of you have sources out there. Schefter, Rappaport, a couple other people may be close to this situation from a reporter perspective, or there's a leak. There's a rat. If there's a rat in the building and you are friends with the rat, maybe you found out about it. Maybe the cleaning lady is dating your dad, and your dad overheard something about something going down, and the cleaning lady's a rat. That person, there has to be a rat involved because your little itty bitty, even if it's a big follower count on IG, your little itty bitty Instagram account didn't get leaked information to you. You don't, anybody that says, according to my source, I have sources close to the situation. No, you don't. You don't. I've been doing this 23 years. I have broken news before anybody one time because I had a friend that was inside an organization that leaked information to me, and it ended up being true, but the trade ended up not going through. Nobody, this is Michael Turner, when he was traded to the Titans, I believe, back in 2008. I've been doing fantasy for about 4 or 5 years, and Turner was traded to the Titans, but the trade missed the deadline. It didn't go through. I broke that. No one cared because social media wasn't really a thing. It was, I broke it. I believe there's, God, what was the platform then? What was even out then? It was, I think it was on, I put it up on YouTube because YouTube was 2007. I put a video clip on YouTube. I put was it Twitter tweet, something out, but no one cared. No one cared because no one saw it, and I didn't break shit because the next minute everybody else had it. These people are out of their minds. I've done this 23 years. I can smell garbage and BS when I see it. None of you know, and you're playing the guesstimation game. You're sitting there looking at Kyle Shanahan and Aiyuk dapping it up, and you go to your little itty-bitty Twitter account. Ma, hold the meatloaf for 5 more minutes. I've got a tweet to send. I have a source. It's Ma. And Ma says, according to my source, this is close to happening. I'm going to make my bones off this one, Ma, and then I can buy my own meatloaf. This is what he's saying. This is what's going on. Nobody knows. There's no information on this. Is there a likelihood that the DAP meant something? Sure. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. But no one has any information. There's no update. And according to Shanahan, that meant nothing. We'll see. I don't know if I buy that, but we have nothing to go on. Okay, Franco says relax. Hey, Franco, why don't you take a lap? You relax. I'm fine. This is my resting face. Does it bother you, Franco? Does it bother you, Franco? Because it doesn't bother me.
Get where? Wrong. Muy mal.
All right, Aiyuk, this is coming from CT who blocked me. Well, AB blocked me. AB started reaching out to me. He started clipping some of my videos. I referenced CTE once. He clipped that, put it on his Twitter, and started citing some things. Started DMing me. Started asking me some things like, Smitty, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? I gave him my opinion on the dead cap for Herbert. I said they can't trade him, though. They can't trade him. The dead cap is too incredibly crazy, though, right? He ends up sourcing me for information. And then he, out of nowhere, I say, hey, can you come on my show? We'll pump up CT Antonio Brown, this is a true story. Antonio Brown DMs me, you got budget? And I said, I don't want to pay you, Antonio Brown. I have a pretty nice platform. I'd like to just have you on and promote you so that, you could get more exposure for CT talk some good football. And he blocks me. Asking me for advice. I'm helping him out. I'm promoting his CT I am. I'm putting it up. We're talking about how maybe this becomes one of our daily sources. We talk about whatever he's talking about. We'll shoot some of it down. We'll maybe talk some of it up. And he says, you got budget. And I said, I do, but I don't necessarily want that kind of relationship. You DM me and we're talking, and now you want money or we're not friends? Block me. Block me. But I'm still here reporting. And if CT is on the case, so am I. And I'm not going to take it offensively. CT hasn't blocked me, but AB's X account has blocked me. But that's all right. That's all right. Some of you can tell me what's going on with it every once in a while. CT is reporting, according to this blank caption, just a hashtag CT and Aiyuk in a Steeler uniform. So apparently he's hearing something, okay? I don't know what that means. Take it for what it is. I don't know if I have enough budget to even find out, but we'll check into that from time to time. Antonio Brown, if you're watching it, I know you watch. You clearly do, because you told me you do. You told me you love the show. You've clipped it before. Unblock me, bro. We're pals, bro. What is going on here? Appreciate you. I do. I'll keep promoting you anyway. Joe Burrow. Oh, Smitty. Joe Burrow's hurt. Joe Burrow, Smitty. Smitty, will he ever be the same? I'm hearing reports from the Twitter physicians that decided to open up fantasy football content with their knowledge, and they got a lot of knowledge, saying he's never going to throw the same, Smitty. He's going to be bad. He's not going to have any strength, and there's a real reason to be concerned. According to this graphic that I've screenshotted, not even midway through flight, this football is soaring well over 50, 55, 60 yards, and it's a dime pass, a dime touchdown reception. This is not one of those like the other day, and I'm not trying to rip on the Niners. I love the Niners. I love Debo. I'm doing a video on Debo, how Debo wins leagues. I hate when people say I'm a Niner hater. I'm a Shanahan doubter for a lot of reasons, but I'm an absolute Niner connoisseur when it comes to fantasy football content. I love Christian McCaffrey. I love Aiyuk, Arizona State. There's a lot of reasons. I'm the one that told the Niner fans they should draft Aiyuk on Raj's live stream. I love the Niners, so this is not Niner hate. But Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown, a toss from Brock Purdy yesterday, and it was absolutely not a touchdown. It was a nice little throw, just pitch and catch, though. I mean, I could have thrown it to Christian McCaffrey. He made a couple moves, and a guy had hands on him. If it was flag football, he would have been down. He had hands on him. He let go of him. Christian McCaffrey made another juke. Other guy stopped running, kind of almost touched him, and McCaffrey just kind of jogged down the field, and everyone started reporting McCaffrey and Purdy connect on a 70-yard touchdown, monster reception. That is not factual. That is not factual, and I can at least say this. when it happens on the end of a situation that we are hyped about. This is actually a dime. This is actually a touchdown throw. There is a difference. And watching Joe Burrow gunslinging out there today, the day before, makes me 100% certain that he is not going to be hampered by last year's injury. So for all of those wondering about the fantasy physicians all over the place trying to inject their fantasy football knowledge, which is very short-lived, with a lot of medical knowledge, which I agree they have a lot of, and that's great, and we respect that part, it doesn't always jive. You might want to take your advice from somebody that's done the fantasy football thing for 2 decades, that has all of the knowledge you need from a medical standpoint, because I've seen it for 20 plus years. Burrow's fine. Purdy's fine. He had the UCL. He's fine. Everybody said, oh, he may not be the same. I even came in and talked about him. Like, I don't know. We don't know. He's doing a bridge experiment thing. He could be fine. He could not be fine. We don't know. But people making assumptions that somebody won't be the same, you don't know. And in some ways, we didn't fully know, but we knew that there was nothing negative pointing to Burrow not being able to do it. So why did people run their mouth about it?
The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pancake.
Look at the stack. Drop
the live chat.
Drop an appropriate amount of pancakes for your favorite stack. Drop a dub stack if it's Burrow Chase. Drop a trip stack if it's Allen, Kincaid, and Coleman. And drop a quad stack of pancakes if you love it's really a 5 stack in a way, but it's the running back stable, McBride, Harrison Jr., and Kyler. Drop your appropriate stack and do it live. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
Get burrowed, get burrowed, get burrowed. He's looking fantastic. 50-plus yard bomb. Javon Baker. Do I have to show this? Look, there's a reason he's been...
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Look at him. Look at him.
Space Monsters.
Look at him. Do you hear me? You hear what I'm saying? There's a reason I keep talking this kid up. And I'm telling you, this kid's special. I don't know if they're going to get him the ball. I can't guarantee that. We got a lot of quad stack of pancakes going on. The Cardinal stack is doing it live. What an amazing quad stack. Lions got a good stack too, absolutely. I mean, at some point you got to draw the line. This is Javon Baker looking like a freaking monster out there. And this is not the first route. Remember I just said, like, Christian McCaffrey runs this nice little route, and it's just normal route. He catches the ball, and he's getting, hands on him all the way through to the point where he runs down the field. He's jogging down the field, and there's 2 or 3 players that give up, touch him and give up, and McCaffrey's just jogging down the field. 70-yard touchdown! That's different than when you see something like this, where Javon Baker's really running a nice route, looking good. And I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all. I'm not trying to say that this isn't in some way the same thing. I get it. We're getting excited about the players we love catching footballs, looking good. But Keon Coleman has been doing it the entire... Oh, look at this Tyreek Hill speed. Tyreek Hill is just looking nasty out there. These are all on my Instagram. Ja'Marr Chase is catching footballs. He's doing drills on the sideline. He's not going to practice till he gets his contract, but he is out there, at least in a helmet, in his jersey, catching footballs, still getting everybody excited. This is all my Instagram. A.J. Brown was out of bounds on here, so good play on the defense, but what a snag by A.J. Brown. He's going to have such a big year. That's on my Instagram. We've got Quentin Johnston dropping footballs left and right, the worst receiver in the National Football League. And then we've got our boy Keon Coleman. And I don't think we have a $20 super chat yet, but I'm going to play it anyway. And anybody that drops the $20 super chat between now and the time I play this, I'm dropping the Keon Coleman thing over and over and over. But Keon Coleman is looking like a glorious wide receiver. Look at this man right now, catching touchdown pass after touchdown pass, and he looks fantastic doing it. Look at that one right there. That's for my boy Buff Mafia. He was at this practice, and Keon Coleman's catching footballs and flipping on the sideline in order to land properly. They're all over the place. This one right here catches another touchdown. Oh, are we done yet? No, we're not done yet. How about this touchdown? How about this back bending, toes in? This guy's an absolute monster. And Keon Coleman's going to the moon. And when I start pumping up Keon Coleman and I start dropping Keon Coleman videos or talking about his touchdown grabs, and then I say, oh, Christian McCaffrey's wasn't impressive, people get mad at me, but I am being decisive and specific about which touchdown passes I'm bringing up. And Keon Coleman's are all magical grabs. They're unbelievable snags. He's using his quickness, his speed, and Mark Cleveland dropping the $20 hauler required in order to play the Keon Coleman drop. Mark, enjoy this right now because it's all for you, pal. If you, Neon Dion dropped a $20 hauler. First of all, both of you, thank you so much for dropping $20 haulers. I'm gonna do the $20 hauler shout out to both of you right now. But Neon Dion wants the Neon Keon, okay? And since I just played it, Neon, anytime you want, I want you to drop a bunch of exclamation points that you want the Keon Coleman video played now. And because you dropped the $20 hauler, I gotta stop what I'm doing and hit the button because you dropped the $20 hauler. Thank you, young man.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 super chat. $20 super chat.
Alert. Super chat alert.
My boys, dropping 20 wads. Appreciate you, Mark Cleveland. Appreciate you, Neon, doing it live. Appreciate you both. Mark Cleveland, you're an absolute monster. Again, Neon, when you're ready, we're doing it. Okay? You just tell me when, and I'm dropping it. Here's the super chat from Jonathan. Here's the super chat from Rockout. Rockout says, I got problems. I got the pandemic. I'm good. Rockout, prayers up. You'll get better fast, bro. Don't worry about it. I just had it. It did wipe me out a little bit energy-wise, but it was only for about a day and a half that I felt that way. We got Ryan with a super chat, John with a super chat, Glenn with a $2 hauler with no message attached. Glenn, thank you for that. Glenn dropped another $2 hauler and said, Smitty, do you do IDP? Not really video content with IDP, but sometimes we do it on thefantasyfootballshow.com. But IDP is just not a very sought after. I know people like to do it. It's getting bigger, but it's still a small potatoes, and I'm just not interested in creating content around it because it'll get very low views. And not everything's about views, but I don't even enjoy creating IDP content anyway. Mainly because I don't enjoy it as much. I'd rather create content around offensive players, exciting things, in my opinion. And also, you know, it's not exciting when there's less people interested in it. TH, appreciate you, says Fields dominating camp as we speak. Yeah, he's a QB1 in Pittsburgh until I'm proven otherwise. Until it's proven otherwise, to me, he's the QB1. I know they're going to give the job to Russ, but Russ is now going to lose it immediately. Or they'll open it up to, it's now a competition 50-50, and that's just the nature of it. And that's the way it's going to be, and Fields is going to take him to the cleaners. This is what we said all offseason long. People laughed at us. They laughed at us. Rockout says, check your DM. Okay, give me a second. Ryan, 12-team PPR Superflex keeper. Who should my keeper be from last year? Gibbs at 3.11, Pacheco at 9.11, Laporta at 13.11, draft from the 5th spot. I'm going to say Jahmyr Gibbs at 3.11. I do like the idea of a near fourth rounded player with Laporta or with Pacheco, but that is such a good value. I'm going to take the Jahmyr Gibbs at 3.11. The only thing that'll make me maybe change my mind is if that's 2 rounds different next year and then you can't keep him or something, and then that means Laporta can be kept for like 4 or 5 years. That would potentially change my mind. So let me know if there's some little, ins and outs of that might make me think differently. Hey, Smitty, I'm in a 10-man half PPR pick 10. Should I take Saquon, Gibbs, Kyren, or Kyren and Saquon? Thank you for your channel. Thank you, John. I would say Gibbs, Kyren without a hesitation, but if one of those guys gets snagged, Saquon and Achane are equals to me. I kind of lean Achane over Saquon by a hair, but love both of them the same. There's not really anybody higher on Gibbs, Kyren, and Achane and Bijan than your boy in Breece Hall. I mean, I smashed those guys up into the top 6. But I love Barkley. But I love Barkley where he's getting drafted. I love Barkley at that 12-13 turn or anywhere in the 2nd round. Barkley's unbelievable in that territory. What rankings on your website should I use for my non-PPR league? Honestly, the non-PPR, the only thing that will change a little bit is the running backs will get a little bit more crowded inside rounds 1, 2, and 3. But I'll create a non-PPR ranking in August twice. Okay, so look for that. That will help you. But my rankings are going to morph into 0.5, which will cover pretty much everything. It's a slight adjustment in both directions that at the same, you can use it for whatever. But running backs will slightly move up in rounds 1 and 2, similar to how wide receivers move up in best ball in best ball drafts. But look for that article. There should be one at the beginning of August here, so the next couple days, and then one about mid to later August. I'll do an update, but it'll be a non-PPR ranking, probably more of a top 200, if you will, because the positional rankings don't get affected all that much at all. It's a top 200 that you kind of need. Dynasty Superflex got offered JJ and Corum for Caleb, Etienne, and Pittman. Currently have CJ Stroud, Dak. Yeah, of course. If you got Dak and Stroud, you're trading away Caleb Williams, Etienne, and Pittman for JJ and Corum. I'm doing that. Etienne and Caleb and Pittman are good, but I'm taking JJ and Corum all day long if you've got those quarterbacks. I'm not saying I don't try and get more somehow because you got the quarterback, but at the end of the day, I'm doing that trade. At the end of the day, I don't care. I'm smashing the hell out of that. Fields, thank you for that. Fields, rock out. Ryan, appreciate you. John, appreciate you. Bowling League, okay. Jonathan, thank you. And then Ethan coming in with a $20 hauler. Ethan, $20 hauler. Neon still got a dibs on whenever he wants to play it, but I'll tell you what, Ethan, if it makes you happy, I'll play something even more amazing than the Keon Coleman drop. This is what we're doing moving into week number 1. Last year we tried to potentially do some sort of Moon Man, Mars Man theme during the season, and it didn't go over well because people were like, "Wait a minute, the Saturn men are going to change," and I don't want you to do that, Smitty. People got all their panties in a bunch because I started to try and do a revolving in-season Moon Man list. It confused everybody. They thought I was taking away Moon Man access or Moon Man rights to the players that we anointed Moon Men. So we're doing the Wild Wild West, and here is our preemptive most wanted week 1 on man. I'm putting them on the board early so that you can get a little taste of what we got going on. I give you Keon Coleman, Wild Wild West, most wanted, number 1 man. Let's ride. Keon Coleman. Wrong video. Here it is. Let me start over. I give you the most wanted man for week 1 on. Here you go.
Wanted. Wanted. The top most wanted outlaws.
These outlaws are on the run. 'Cause they're wanted, dead or alive.
Appreciate you, Ethan, for dropping the $20 holler. I hope that was suitable for your $20 holler celebration, my man. Appreciate you. Nate says, the most random show ever, and I never want to miss a second of it. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate that. Probably the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. Rockout has a message he wants me to listen to. He dropped a super chat, and it goes a little something like this.
The goat, he be chopping at the throat. Said he is the goat, he be chopping at the throat. The goat, Smitty the goat.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Rockout, for the wonderful message. You absolutely rock, my guy. And then Neon, whenever Neon requested that Keon Coleman drop, we're playing it. All right, I think I've got all of the news out of the way. We got the Javon Baker, the Aiyuk. I don't think there's anything else to go over. Shanahan, yeah. Phone lines are open. Mark Cleveland. Did Mark Cleveland have a question? Let me see if Mark Cleveland had a question. Mark Cleveland. In the house, he said, Mark, if you've got a question, can you call in, though? Because I want to help you. If you got anything, I want to give you some advice with this $20 holler that you dropped. Appreciate you very much, my guy. Appreciate you so much. Neon says, much love, Smitty. Neon, you just tell me when you... Oh, this is it. His exclamation points. He wants it. He wants it. Traveling through space. Wanted. Take it over one planet at a time. The phone lines are open. Dial into the show. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Brought to you by theattic.shop. Get your attic apparel over at theattic.shop. Travis, you're live, and the phone lines are open if anybody else wants to dial in. What's up, my guy?
How's it going?
It's going good today.
Yeah, not many Gibbs doubters left, but there's still a few here and there. And the people who doubt that he can be the number one guy, like you've covered most of it, but like he arguably is the best pass catching back in the NFL. Like you could put him up against anybody, and you know, I know they say they could run Bijan out of the slot and all that, but Gibbs can do all of that as well. So
yeah. I mean,
I don't find much of an argument against it.
Just looking at, this profile page that I have here, I mean, there's so much here. There's nothing being cherry picked. Like if I was to say something like, in, press coverage, this guy catches, he's top 6 in press coverage in the third quarter. Like, I'm not saying anything. This is all like top level data here that should scream to you, what am I doing if I'm not drafting Jahmyr Gibbs in the top 5 running backs drafted? Maybe even what am I doing if I'm not taking him in the top 5 or 6 overall? Because he's first. He's tied with McCaffrey for first for top 3 running back finishes on the year, and he didn't play much football at all until week 7. How in the hell is all of this data not making somebody run to grab him when he's the 3rd best running back in the National Football League in yards per carry, when he's got the 2nd most 20-plus yard runs in the National Football League with 10, only 2nd, right above McCaffrey with 9, right above Achane with 8, right above Barkley, Breece Hall, only below James Conner, which is an amazing thing for James Conner, but I'm telling you, that makes me so excited about the Cardinals running back room more than it does just Connor. And I know Benson's getting some of that rookie, treatment right now where people are like, he's not even the number 2 yet. He's got to earn that. And that's fine. That makes him very cheap. But I love this combo and getting this Benson-Connor combo. Keep in mind, Benson runs a 4.340. Benson is the future of the running back stable. They drafted him very high. So if you hear somebody go, he's currently not even the running back 2 yet, that is amazing because it drops his value and he becomes even cheaper. But everything about Gibbs screams top 5 running back. It's wild to me that people think you're taking him too high at all when you draft him in the territory of 5, 6, 7, 8 overall. And the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs is going at the 12-13 turn, where you can get him and Achane together, him and Kyren together in non-best ball. In best ball, you can get Kyren at 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. So there's a world that you live in best ball where people are wide receiver saturated. They're absolutely out of their minds, brainwashed into drafting only wide receivers. There is a world where you literally can take Kyren mother freaking Williams at the 3.2. Okay, you could take Bijan Robinson. Where's my Bijan? You're right, Travis. This board, I have the entire NFL on this board at this point. It's getting completely crammed. You can take Bijan early at 1.3, Kyren at 3.3, and you can take Achane. Where's my Achane graphic when I need it? Let me see if I can squeeze that over here and throw it on real quickly. Achane. I'm drafting this trio. Every chance I get in best ball, mania, I'll draft no wide receiver in rounds 1, 2, and 3. And you could say whatever the hell you want about last year's data. I'll find a way to grab the receivers I need, like Keon Coleman, Tank Dell in round number 4. I'll get it done. Don't you worry about me. Worry about yourself. And let me also say this. I'm not scared in the slightest to even say, give me Mahomes as well. Look at that stack right there. Wide receiver. You got to draft a bunch of wide receivers. You need 5 wide receivers in the top 7. Watch me. Watch me not do it. Watch me not do it.
Mashed potatoes.
I'm not saying this is my plan of attack every time. I'm not saying I draft a position, because I don't. I draft a player. But these players are gold in best ball. The fact that everybody's running away from wide receivers, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm here for it. And I'm trying to help a lot of other people think outside the box. Maybe you don't want to go a quad stack like this. And I get that. I get you want to push the envelope a little bit, but you don't want to go too crazy. I understand that. I'm okay with that. But I'll tell you what I will do. If I'm in that kind of thinking mode where I say, you know what, let me go ahead and bring in AR5 and put him in round 5 instead of grabbing Mahomes in 4. I get it. You want to potentially get that wide receiver. No problem at all, pal. Now let's go get ourselves Tank Dell seems to be fitting for this territory. Let me see if I could find myself a little Tank Dell graphic somewhere. Tank Dell, another wide receiver in round 4, could be potentially, I don't know. I don't like Flowers here. DK doesn't really, he sometimes falls in that territory. I think Tank Dell makes the most sense. You could go with something like this and take it straight to the bank. Then you go get a Keon Coleman. You bring Keon Coleman into the mix. You drop Keon Coleman, which I don't know if I even have my Coleman graphic on screen, but Keon Coleman in 6. You got Coleman and Dell. In round numbers, you could get Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Wicks with Dell if you wanted. There's so many ways to be crafty at the wide receiver position, but where can you get 3 top 5 running backs other than this year with this spread out approach? I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about your last year's data best ball theory. I don't. Go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry.
And just going off what you were saying, and just this year's depth at every position too. Allows you to really stick to that best player available, because you'll hear people a lot of times. There's always a couple of people, if you say, oh, take AR5, in a certain build, oh, he's going to get hurt, we don't believe in him. Well, you can either not take him, but even if you take him, there's going to be a solid quarterback, whether it's a Kirk Cousins or an Aaron Rodgers or a Dak, that you could back him up with if you feel that strongly about, I'm afraid he's going to get injured, but I want him on the team or something. There's so many different ways that you can build the team. You're able to stick the best player available no matter what, almost all the time.
Yeah, and Terry says you were able to get Denny to help.
Smitty, can I just ask you one thing?
Yeah, that's great.
Can we do karate in the garage? Want it.
Thank you, Terry, for the $2 super chat. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, you look at tight end has never been more stacked, the position. Wide receiver has never been more stacked before. On top of, we have the most gifted rookie wide receiver class potentially that we've seen in a long, long time, which will feed it even more. And rookies are avoided by so many. So guess what? I can have Keon Coleman as my wide receiver too, and I love it. I've got a big smile on my face about it. I'm not scared of it at all. And I've got Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Wicks, and you could say Dobbs too, is a fun wide receiver 2-3-4 combo to have in a best ball format. And if we're not talking best ball, there's even more wide receivers to have. This was my best ball rant in conversation. Guess what you can do in non-best ball? Let's say you get AR5 in round 6, which can happen in non-best ball. You probably can't get this combo anymore where you're getting Achane and Kyren. So let's go ahead and you could maybe get Achane because Achane falls to about 3.1. But let's pretend we're not getting that. Let's pretend we're not getting everything we want. You got Deebo Samuel, who goes in round 2 in a best ball, goes in round 3 in a non-best ball. You got Tank Dell going in 4, maybe 5 in a non-best ball. We'll put him in 4. You got Kyren going here, and then you get McBride. You get someone of that caliber. Where's my McBride graphic when I need it? Xavier Worthy, Christian Watson. Like, give me Keon Coleman, give me Xavier Worthy, give me Christian Watson with Wicks or with Reed, and give me these 2 wide receivers, and I'm completely happy with my wide receiver room. In non-best ball, I'm smashing the hell out of running back nearly every draft right now. Nearly every draft. And it's probably not going to change because I'm best player available, and 9 times out of 10, the best player available in rounds 1, 2 are running backs. And Gibbs is one of those mother-freaking running backs. He's taking it to the moon. This $10 hauler from Bryson gets a moonshot real quickly. Let me read this off. $10 hauler.
To the moon.
Bryson, appreciate you, my guy. Bryson says, 10-man, 3 flex, 1 QB, redraft, PPR, Burrow, Murray, Hall, Gibbs, Jahmyr, Jacobs, Ford, Cora, Moss, tight end, Pitts, wide receiver, Harrison Jr., Cooper Kupp, Jaden Reed, Hollywood Brown, Pearsall. Love it. Any moves should I make? I haven't heard that question in a while. When we get into August, that's the most common phrase anybody says. Any moves I should make? And they list off teams. We're getting there. We're almost there. Football's right there. This is the first question I've had like this. We're going to get so many of them. And I love it. I love it. So your team is fire. Hall, Gibbs, Jahmyr, Jacobs, love it. Wide receiver, Harrison, Kupp, Jaden Reed, love it. A Pitts at tight end. My only suggestion to you, even though I just talked about how much I love Burrow, turn Burrow into AR5 or higher, using a Hollywood, using a potential Jacobs, or using a Jahmyr White. I love Jahmyr White, I do, but there's some appeal there to throw him in the mix with a Burrow to try and upgrade into Hurts, Josh Allen. Mahomes is going to throw for 45 touchdowns. Mahomes is going to score 50-plus touchdowns this year. Mahomes is my best pick in all of fantasy football 2024, plain and simple. These are my best 5 picks in all of fantasy football, 3 of which are quarterbacks. I want you to try and get into one of these guys. That would be my best advice for you, Bryson. There's no better pick than Mahomes. Kyren's up there, but there's no better pick than Mahomes. He's going to take the league by storm and make everybody pay. And the worst idea I've ever seen, aside from making Quentin Johnston a starting receiver in the NFL, is the Raiders getting a puppet out and trying to make fun of Patrick Mahomes inside their division, trying to make fun of Mahomes. That is the worst idea I've ever seen in my life. A guy that just won the Super Bowl, a guy that's on a quest to win 3 in a row, never been done, a guy that's about to be coined the GOAT by a lot of people, including me, once this season is over, if he wins another Super Bowl. because it's never been done before. You can claim he needs this extra number of rings to be the GOAT. Let's see what happens if he wins his 3rd straight Super Bowl. How many people jump over to the, okay, I think we can make the argument that he's at least tied with Brady regardless of how many Super Bowls Brady's had. This guy has already done it. To do what he's done at a young age is also an accolade. Mahomes is going to win leagues. He is going to be on fire this year. He's got a better wide receiver room than he had last year. They finished on a tear. Pacheco's ready to go. Kelsey's going to be motivated. They're going nuts. Wild Bill did the Miami backfield. That's great. That's great.
Got a new member.
New member. Who's the new member? New member, Nate. Nate's the one that said this is a random show. That's fine. I don't mind hearing that. I don't mind hearing. Hello, what? Who's that? Who's speaking out of turn? Is that TM42? If it is, it's okay. Hold on.
It's not me.
Is it Andrew? Is that you? Just hello?
Yes, it was me. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem, Andrew. Hold on 1 second. Snoopy says Achane or London in round 2, pick 8 redraft. Pick 8. I would say give me Achane, bro. I love London, but give me Achane, and then cuff him if you can. Go ahead, Andrew. Since you're eager to speak, I'm ready to listen. What can I do for you? You're live.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You got me all hyped up. I love your energy.
That's fine.
I called in a couple months ago asking about Keon Coleman. I'm a big Florida State fan. I know you said you liked him, so I love the praise you're giving our boy. Quick question. Where do you kind of stand with Chase Brown dynasty-wise? If you don't have Zach Moss and you have Chase Brown, is he worth holding on to?
I think that Chase Brown is the more attractive running back in that Cincinnati Bengal running back room by a country mile currently. But that country mile could get knocked down to even Steven just off one report. But the most recent reports have said that not only is Chase Brown the number one, the word is that the job is his to lose. It's already his, not that he's in pole position for it. And he's the one familiar with the offense more than Zach Moss. Now, Zach Moss is a good cuff, a fantastic cuff, but we swapped him on the cuff board the other day, and I put Zach Moss as the cuff and Chase Brown as the guy on the backside of this cuff board, because it's Chase Brown's job. From a dynasty perspective, I don't know what to make of him. I'd say he's a little riskier long term than he is short term. Just kind of has the feel for, I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. Doesn't mean he's a bust on any level in dynasty or anything like that. But like, would I be potentially willing to let him to part ways before I see him evolve into what he could or could not become? I think I would. If the price is right, I would package him away. There are other players that I'm not willing to do that, like Benson. I don't know where Benson's ceiling is. So if I have Benson, I'm probably not trading him unless you give me some stupid trade that I just can't refuse. But I'm not actively going to shop him. I'm going to almost balk at most offers, probably. Chase Brown, I'd be more willing to listen on, sending him packing, just because he's already got Zach Moss there competing. We don't have any guarantees on his long-term value. And I think whenever you're dealing with a player that didn't really scream, I'm the absolute future, like we were wondering if Zach Moss would take over, you should always entertain the offers that have players at the high peaks of potentially selling off, just because there is an odds game to this. The odds game is that that Chase Brown has a potential, but not even close to a guarantee to have future value. I like him a lot, but I would definitely sell him if I could, and I'd definitely draft him if I could. He's just a great player this year because the cost of entry in redraft is dirt cheap. But in Dynasty, I'm trying to get Benson. I'm trying to use him to upgrade my quarterback from a top 5 to one of those 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. I'm trying to use him to upgrade maybe Andrews into McBride or Laporta or Kincaid, and I'm just using Zach Moss, Chase Brown in that way. That's what I would do in Dynasty. That's my advice. Doesn't mean I don't love him, bro. I love him.
Cool deal. Thank you.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. TM42, you're live.
Yo, I had a question about your rankings real quick. I was looking at the regular redraft and the Superflex redraft, and I noticed the QBs were in different orders. So I was wondering if that was a typo or if there's actually like something to that.
I'll take a look and see if is there a big discrepancy, or is it like one slight difference?
Like a few players are like kind of different. Like Caleb is, is 18 in redraft, and he's like number 12 in Superflex redraft. So
18, 12. I'll have to look and see if there's some sort of dynasty weight that's dragging that up. But I'll look at it. Thanks for letting me know. But yeah, I don't know. Caleb will not be in my top 12, so something's off there. Caleb he definitely has more value, but not climbing above other running backs. You know, is it somebody you're going to take a stab on as your second quarterback? Sure. I mean, I think Caleb can throw touchdowns. He'll also throw interceptions. He'll have some big games because look, Fields did. They got rid of Fields. Fields failed. I'm putting up air quotes. Failed in Chicago, but he still scored. You know, so like there's that opportunity. I'm doubting Caleb as a winner more than I'm doubting him as a fantasy football facilitator. But I also don't think he'll be quite as good. But I'll check into that. Thank you for letting me know. What else you got, bro? Anything else?
Cool. Yeah, and also just Superflex in general. Do you still have like the running back strategy going forward? I know it's best player available, but does that really translate into like a Superflex draft?
Superflex is weird because I can't give that much advice past round 1, 2 because every draft is different. The flow of it's different. Yeah. The tendencies to go early QB is different. So Superflex is some of the hardest content to provide general advice for. But I love doing my Superflex draft live on the show. I need to create more Superflex content. And part of what I would advise anybody, and I have all offseason, this is my win-a-league strategy. Jordan Love was my win-a-league Superflex strategy last year, and Jordan Love won so many leagues. My strategy this year...
I had heard that, Love.
Yeah, my strategy this year is hopefully you get a top 5 pick. If you get like 11 or 12, it does suck because you end up having to like reach on somebody and it ends up being kind of a mess. But if you've got a top 5 or 6 pick, you draft Mahomes or whatever, okay? You got that quarterback, even if it's Stroud. And then your next move is to resort back to normal drafting and try and find this year's version of Jordan Love. Because that's what's going to win you this league. If you get that, you know you're getting what you're getting at round 2 and 3. While everyone's piling it on with quarterbacks, you're taking Gibbs. If Gibbs falls to 12 in a non-Superflex, he's going to go at 18 or whatever in the second round. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the top of round 3. You've got just plethoras of options to draft top 10 overall players. Get 2 of them with your quarterback. So you got Gibbs, you got MHJ, you took Mahomes, let's say. And in Dynasty, is it Dynasty?
No, redraft.
Okay, so real quickly, in Dynasty, there's never been an easier Superflex strategy than in Dynasty this year. You draft Cousins, who nobody wants. He goes so late in Dynasty, and nobody wants to draft Penix Jr. early because he's not the starter. So you grab Cousins and Penix Jr. in your Dynasty startup, and you're going to crush everyone if you land your other picks. The other thing I would say is in redraft, you got to try and go after like Justin Fields and Russell Wilson just to give you that safety. You don't necessarily need Russell Wilson if you want to bank on Fields, but it gives you that ability to sleep like a baby at night knowing you have a guaranteed quarterback. I usually mix in Penix Jr. with that. So I'll look in a redraft, it'll be Mahomes, go back to normal drafting. I get Jahmyr Gibbs, I get Marvin Harrison Jr., I get mother freaking Deebo Samuel still, or McBride, or whatever. And then all of a sudden, here comes Smitty, Fields, Russell Wilson. And this is sometimes much later, it depends on the flow. And Penix Jr., Taysom Hill, Rattler. Like, I just pile all these players up, and I know I'm going to smash. And if I don't, it's Superflex, right? It's not 2 QB mandatory. Those are 2 very different things. 2 QB mandatory means you have to start 2 QBs, and it's a little bit harder to draft that this way, but you just stay on your toes and you can make it work. And then there's Superflex. Worst case scenario, bro, you're starting Jahmyr White in your Superflex, and you're trying to cultivate quarterback. You're trying to add drop. You're trying to get that next guy. Maybe you find Rattler on the waiver wire because nobody picked him up. Boom, Rattler. Joe Milton, who knows? Maybe he develops. You could pick him up. So you're always going to stay on your toes. The waiver wire shows will help do that. But Jordan Love's, this year's Jordan Love in Dynasty is Cousins and Penix Jr. together. This year's Jordan Love in redraft would be a Fields and Russell Wilson and Penix Jr. trio. That will probably serve you very well at your QB2.
Yep. I like Wilson and Fields and the Cousins Penix combos in late Superflex for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right, mute yourself. If you get another question, swing back around. I got your back. Okay, just hang tight right there. Let me go over to back to Travis. Travis, did you want to add anything about Chase Brown? You love Chase Brown. He has been on the Chase Brown side of the Zach Moss Chase Brown from the beginning. Travis loves Chase Brown. How do you feel about Chase Brown's dynasty value? How do you feel about his redraft value?
I like Chase Brown a lot. I'm also not very high on Moss. That's just personally one thing that I'm not very high on. But I love his dynasty value because I think he showed. I know college can be different, but if you look at his last year in college, he carried the ball a ton of times. So he's at least shown that he can handle, a fairly big workload. And I know he's a little bit smaller of a back, but it seems like he's got the ability to take the beating that you have to. I know the NFL is different, obviously, but and just with the way PPR value is going nowadays, I think he's got a ton of it. So the one big caveat that I always hear is he had trouble run blocking last year. Pass blocking last year. So if he can get that down, he's going to have an opportunity to be on the field a lot.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Nate says Gibbs or Marvin Harrison Jr. PPR if I'm keeping two running backs. Gibbs or Marvin Harrison Jr. PPR if I'm keeping two running backs. Nate, I kind of need to know. Like, what's the keeper value of MHJ? Is it like unlimited? Is it Gibbs or MHJ?
You gotta know more.
Yeah. I think can you clarify on that? Gibbs is if it's long term, like you can keep him forever, and it sounds like you're keeping two running backs and a player, so 3-man keeper, I'm assuming, and you can keep him for life. So it's like a keeper dynasty in a way, some people would say. Then I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. because in one calendar year, he might be my number 1, my number 2, my number 3 overall. Sometimes you don't have any value to keep him because you're drafting him too high, so he's got no key. There's some details that I think I need. And he says random was meant as a good thing. I know you meant it as a good thing. I gave you a standing ovation, I think, for it, right? So I appreciate that. What else we got? TM, what's up? What else you got?
No, I ain't got nothing else. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Can I ask you a trade question? Someone asked real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it was, I guess they're in the third round of a redraft. They took Lamb and Kyren already, and they were asking Waddle or Henry. Now, I know you would probably take someone else even, but if it was down to Waddle or Henry, who would you take?
So Lamb and then Kyren.
Yep.
And then you got Waddle or Henry. I guess I would go. I guess I would want to know who else I could grab. Because quite honestly, you've got one RB, you've got one wide receiver, you're totally balanced. I'm taking Mahomes if this is me, and I just don't care what a lot of people think about. Oh, I want to wait on a this is a 50 touchdown passer this year. This is maybe the rushing leader. This is maybe the rushing touchdown number 1 overall player. This is maybe the number 1 wide receiver, and this is potentially the number 1 overall, of course, quarterback, but overall fan. This right here, like, you can't be stopped if you draft Lamb, Kyren, and Mahomes, assuming you do even remotely well with the rest of your draft. So I just don't. I'm not going Waddle or Henry. The players I can. You give me Mike Coleman, give me Xavier Worthy, and you get the fun cuffing of Worthy and Mahomes later. Give me Xavier Worthy over Waddle if it means I get Mahomes as my quarterback instead of your 6th or 7th round option. You know, like Worthy and Mahomes to me is absolute straight fire.
That's something we've talked about before too. Is that's something you have to consider? Is if I take this player, who am I getting later compared to the Mahomes and the player later? You have to kind of weigh those two. Don't just look at it, tunnel vision.
Yeah, always try. I mean, man, you get the top player at every position, especially if that's like Bijan. That's even more so. Bijan, Lamb, or Bijan, Chase, and Mahomes. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you could say Josh Allen, Gibbs, and Tyreek Hill. Like, I mean, you still have the potential of the number one at each of those positions. It's a great way to build. Balance is always going to win out with me. I know we keep talking about running back. The reason that is such an appealing approach to me, especially the tripod specifically, is the most, let me play that, the tripod, the most attractive build right now because of the way the players are falling. But balance is always more what I want if I can get away with it, because then you have no bias involved. You'll draft anybody no matter what position, because you already started off with Lamb, Mahomes, and Kyron. You're liquid. You're loose. You're liquid and ready to rumble is what that is. And here's the tripod if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
Aren't all keeper leagues dynasty leagues also? No. Dynasty is when you keep everybody. Or you could say you keep everybody forever. So if it's a keeper dynasty league, then you're essentially saying, and it's kind of somebody just making that up, trying to use both terms, and that's fine. I'm fine with it. A keeper dynasty league would be you keep 3 guys and you can keep them forever. So there's a dynasty angle to it. When there's limited keeper leagues where you're limited on the amount of rounds or how many years you can keep them, that has nothing to do with dynasty. Nate, thank you again. Did Nate end up responding? Oh, he did, didn't he? He said right here, I can keep them forever. So wanted to choose any 2 players. So if you can keep them forever, you got to go MHJ. Because as much as I love Gibbs, and this is a Gibbs, show, MHJ is going to be as valuable maybe this year, and if not, he could be the number 1 overall player. Where we drafted JJ prior to Cousins being raptured off the Vikings, a year and a half ago, we're drafting MHJ as if he's prime JJ with Cousins. That's where we're drafting MHJ, in my opinion, in 1 calendar year. So easy call for me, and this is hard for me to say. However, you said you're already keeping 2 running backs. Why is Gibbs not one of them? Who are the running backs that you have? I'd be curious who those are. But fantastic team, bro. I mean, great start. Terry Roberts with a $5 hauler says, Smitty, why is it not a good idea to stack and redraft? My guy, help me understand, bro. Thanks so much. It's not that it's a bad idea if the right team is, you're stacking the right players. I think it's a bad idea to use it as a blanket statement of some kind, like, hey, stacking's good in redraft. It's not. It's more times bad than good, because if you pick a team like the Miami Dolphins, let's say, who are an unbelievable team to stack in best ball, especially weekly winners where you're trying to just pop off one time, and they're very inconsistent. They can have those bad games. If Tua has a bad game and he hasn't lately shown up against good teams above 500 or playoff teams, they'll have like kind of a collapse or whatever, and then your entire team suffers. A team like the Eagles, or better yet, the Buffalo Bills, let's say, and we look at Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's been QB1, QB2, QB1, QB1, QB6 in back-to-back years. Guess what is not happening very often at all? The Buffalo Bills offense not doing amazing things. Or in Jalen Hurts' case, Jalen Hurts was a top 6 quarterback 11 times. Look at all this green up here. He's a top 6 quarterback 69% of his games. He's a top 10 quarterback 81. So if you're drafting A.J. Brown and Hurts in a redraft, that's fine. You're drafting on explosive offenses, Mahomes and Worthy in redraft. Love it. So stacking is more fun than it is advantageous. There's no statistical advantage, at least the same way in best ball and in redraft. So in some cases, like, you shouldn't sacrifice and draft the cuff of the wide receiver and your, let's say, your Worthy and Mahomes, if you're actually passing on a slightly better player than Worthy to grab Worthy to get the stack. Whereas in best ball, that stack opportunity actually makes Worthy on even playing field with that player that he might be slightly ranked below. It's part of the best player available analysis that you'll do on the fly, and then you stack. But only stack with teams that are very, very rarely going to let you down. Otherwise, you're making a grave mistake in redraft by stacking. That would be my advice for you, Terry. Appreciate you. And let me go over to Marsman Rock Out, then over to Andrew. Marsman Rock Out, my guy. What is up, pal?
Okay. Are we taking Baker or Polk for the Patriots?
Travis would probably tell you a Polk, I would guess. I'm gonna say Baker.
I take Baker.
Okay, I'm gonna say Baker, but I think that,
chance on him.
yeah, I think we have to understand that Baker is literally not starting. So the problem we're gonna have is we got him on the Moon Man list. Let me show you.
The Moon Man.
Look at him.
Dropping loads in outer space.
Baker is on the Moon Man list, but I'm being a little careful this year.
Space Monsters.
As you can see, every Moon Man is going to get fed immediately, except for the guys in the moon. And the reason I put Baker and Penix Jr. here is so that I don't hear later from a complaining Caleb, I drafted all the Moon Man, and I drafted the wrong ones, and they didn't start because I don't have a brain.
Yeah.
And I'm going to blame you, Smitty. Like, this is me telling you, and I even put long-term in the moon, that there's no guarantees that Baker rises up. I can only tell you that he's got the next Tank Dell, the next Puka Nacua potential, but I can't make the decision to put him in the lineup. I can't. So therefore, he has to be a very careful Moon Man and projected player. You could even say midseason monster is even a little safer, but I wanted to put Baker on the moon because he's been there from really early on, and I don't want to change directions because we will be earlier than everybody on Baker because nobody talked him up like we did, and taking him off the Moon Man makes me feel dirty.
Can I say something quick on Polk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So supposedly Polk is, pretty. They claim he's pretty advanced with, knowing his routes and responsible for that type of stuff and good all around. But I've also heard, like, for him, his ceiling, you never know, he could go be better than this, but his ceiling would be more of like a Robert Woods type, a very solid guy that might have some pretty good years, reliable, good, but not like great, whereas Baker has a chance to be that, superstar type guy if he hits the ceiling.
Like there is no guarantee that Puka Nacua was going to get the opportunity that he got. There was just flashes, and even though you could say it's even one of my misses is to not acknowledge that Puka was going to continue to do what he did in week 1. So when he did it again in week 2, I jumped on board, I adjusted and adapted, and I said, look, I feel ashamed of myself, and I admit it. Like, we're not going to hit everything, and I take ownership of that. I'll never hide that, but I did love drafting him. Like, it didn't mean that I just thought, you know what, this is a sell high opportunity. This is like, Puka, I don't know we're going to get this all year long. He looked fantastic, sure. But after 1 week, after he did it in week 1 and week 2, you had to just adjust and adapt. This is like why people that don't like Kyron and don't like Achane, they keep doubling down. It's why they'll never be elite fantasy football owners and managers, because they can't learn to say, look, it's an L. instead of taking an L all year, jump on the train and be the guy that knew how to adjust and adapt to that shit. Like you can't just be sticking to your guns all the time. And the thing about Puka is, even though I didn't love him to the degree Puka was in week 1, in week 2, and then, I came around on, this is still a player we liked a lot on the channel. We drafted him quite a bit in best ball. Whenever we got to the round 17, 18 territory, we constantly said, Puka's good here. Puka's a good stab in the dark. As much, though, to a lot of people as Tutu Atwell for the Rams was. That's about the level Puka was at. There was no guarantee. He was a little bit exciting. His name had popped a little bit in camp. Everybody was kind of saying, could be. It was no higher hype than Javon Baker. There was no higher hype than, let's say, it was way less than a Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman has the hype of maybe the level of the Tank Dell that I tried to bring to the table and say Tank Dell. And a lot of people are like, okay, I hear it, but I don't believe it. He's too small. So there were people that knew who he was. Puka was more obscure. Tank Dell was very much on the map, but no one wanted to believe in him. Worthy's very similar. And we changed on Worthy. I love Worthy right now. And that's acknowledging what's going on and evolving in camp. You can't just stick to your. We don't know what Worthy is. We didn't know what he was. We still kind of don't know. But before August 1 hit, we got on board, so we weren't late. Like as long as you're on before August 1, I don't think you could be deemed a late arrival. But it's okay to be a late arrival. That's the part that you need to get over if for any reason you're struggling with it. Like if you're sitting here going, Kyren, I didn't like him last year though, so I'm not gonna like him this year. You got to let that go. You got to figure a way around that.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs.
People still doing Gibbs. Yeah.
Ray G with a $5 hauler. If MHJ falls to pick 18, do you draft him over Kyren? In Dynasty, hell yeah. In redraft, no. I'm drafting Kyren more times than not. If I had 5 leagues side by side, I would take MHJ in 2 of them. Kyren, well, to be honest, I'd take Achane, Kyren, MHJ in like a combination to get, my beak wet in every single area of this thing. But like if I'm given one draft, I'm drafting one league, I'm drafting Kyren. Because Kyren is a top 5 overall pick. People just don't acknowledge it. And they allow me to steal him away in the 3rd round in best ball, and I'm doing it. They allow me to steal him away in round 2, and I'm going to do it. And if Kyren somehow, some way climbs back up to 5 overall, I'm taking him there with a smile. I'm just going to get away with what I can get away with and scream from the rooftops and the mountaintops as long as I can for as loud as I can. Kyren is an absolute top 5 overall player. So is Gibbs, though. Let me go over to Andrew. Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, I know we like Malik Neighbors. He's a great talent. Our concern is Daniel Jones. Where do you take Neighbors to where you feel like, okay, this is worth the risk because of Daniel Jones, like in the ADP?
I think anywhere in the 3rd round is not insane at all. I think just like JJ, this is very equivalent, just different places in the draft gives you a different range of what's acceptable and what. But the JJ falling from 1 overall. If Kirk Cousins got traded back to Minnesota today because Penix Jr. looks so good, JJ would climb to the number 1 overall pick again. Or at least the top 2. The fall of JJ from 1 or 2 overall to now 6, 7, 8 is the same appropriate fall. And that's deserving. It is. It's appropriate. It puts him in a perfect place, though. You're not risking the biscuit, but you're also, you're not going to probably get the same JJ you could. But I think Neighbors going from 2 to 3 is the same appropriate droppage. So if you get him at 3.5, 3.2, 3 point, it's appropriate. I think the further down you get, the more likely I'm going to get involved. I'm not taking him at 3.1. I'm not taking him at 3.2. I'm not taking him at 3.3. So your question was what I would do. I think it's acceptable. It's not take a lap worthy, whereas it probably is. Taking Neighbors inside round 2 as your second drafted player, especially mid round 2, is take a lap worthy for me. I would probably get involved personally at the end of round 3 when it almost feels like my 4th drafted player, like 2, 3, 4 spots away from my 4th round, for the 4th round area. I would take Neighbors there. I could take Neighbors as my low end wide receiver 1 in the 3rd round if I went Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs, let's say. Because Bijan's fallen before Gibbs is. It's probably more likely would be Breece Hall and Gibbs at back-to-back picks. I'd be plenty happy if somehow at the end of round 3 I got Neighbors as my wide receiver 1. I compare him with Mahomes, and I could have Neighbors, Mahomes, Gibbs, and Breece Hall. Or even more appropriate would be Bijan mid round 1, Kyren mid 2, Neighbors maybe mid 3, Mahomes in 4 in best ball. But that's not going to happen, most likely. I don't know. I'd probably rather just draft a different player than even go anywhere slightly above mid 3.
Cool deal. Thank you, man.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to cycle everybody off the phone line. I'll be back tonight to draft. Let's see here. Travis, Rock Out, any other things you want to add real quick, bro?
Yeah, you think Ferguson's a good late tight end because he'll get pretty good volume, I think.
Late tight end? I don't know if you're getting him late. I mean, Ferguson's going.
Not late, but later.
Yeah, late. I guess later, sure. Yeah, Ferguson's going to dance with the big boys, bro. I mean, look, Brandon Cooks isn't really going away, it seems. Like, he's even looking pretty good in camp, which is kind of, like, not surprising, but it's also like, wow. I don't know. Like, why do I keep acting like he's going to be nothing and he's actually something okay? I definitely am not drafting him much at all. I'm just saying, like, Cooks is there. Like, he's there. But Fergie's going to probably eat a whole lot more than normal. I would think.
Yeah.
So, you get him in, like, round 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, smash, man. I mean, just like, I don't even know. Even if I have another tight end already, just for trade bait, I might do that if we're talking about a non-best ball. But, I mean, Fergie in round 8, 9, 10 is just a home run. Straight home run. I mean, he could be top 5, top 6. But I do love grabbing Luke Musgrave outside the top 10, 12, 15, even outside the top 15 tight ends sometimes. I love Goddard outside the top of 10, 11, 12. He's usually going around 12, 13, 14. Depends on the format. But, I mean, jeez, bro. I'm absolutely thrilled to get Fergie as my tight end. I think Miss Smitty's, she was supposed to order a pizza from Costco. And I think she's texting me that she's on the phone. And she's like, I'm sorry, I can't order it. Okay, yeah. Anything else, boys?
No, that's pretty much it.
No.
All right, we'll be back tonight.
Later tonight.
Yeah, we'll be back tonight to draft, and probably, I'm sure there'll be some sort of news that we can kind of launch the stream off of. I don't like just doing draft streams. I like to have like conversations about something, strategy or a player in the news. Tyreek Hill, what is this right here? Yeah. Tyreek Hill. Players have voted Cheetah is the number 1 player in the NFL. Wow. Number 1 player in the NFL. NFL official account just posted that. The players have voted Tyreek Hill number 1 player in the National Football League. That's going to help him get a little bit of extra money. They're going to give him the Christian McCaffrey treatment. They're not going to give him a brand new deal like everybody else, but they're going to give him a raise. I think they're going to give him a raise. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the top-ranked rookie wide receiver on Madden 25. You guys see this John Mara quote about Danny Dimes? Look, if my Giants fans out there, put your earmuffs on. This is the worst run organization in football right now. There is no worse organization run from the top down than the New York Giants. And if you think you have a case, you can call me up right now, and I'd be glad to hear your argument. But you won't, because you know you'll be firing blanks when you get on here. This is Mara's literally looking at Joe Shane, and in the Hard Knocks episodes made this team look like an absolute group of imbeciles, and they really are. Joe Shane is the worst GM in football. The fact that they think that Danny Dimes has talent, and you know they do, because they talk about, okay, we want to draft Jaden Daniels if we can. Joe Shane's son's like, draft Jaden Daniels, Dad. You only get this job once. That's what he said in the Hard Knocks episode. And his son was right. His son watches the show. But this team, Mara came out and said today that, you know, we're glad we paid Danny Dimes. He definitely earned it the year prior, and we just need to see him stay healthy. And these Giants fans have no idea when they say, oh, Danny Dimes is pretty good, you'll see. They have no idea how depressing this year is going to be. I feel so bad for Giant fans. You have one of the most exciting up-and-coming rookie wide receivers that is going to be fed hospital ball after hospital ball. And the likelihood of, and a knock on wood, I'm not wishing injury upon anybody, but the likelihood of Neighbors staying healthy all year is, he's a rookie. Rookies go through stuff. And he's going to be fed the worst footballs you could be fed. And he's going to try and carry the team on his back and overexert himself every time he's out there, trying to get every extra yard. You know why? Because he's going to get the football thrown 3 yards short to where it should be. He's got an extra 3 yards to get to the first down marker. So he's dragging his body, hanging himself up, getting hit left and right, taking shots he doesn't need to take. That will add up. And he's not going to live in the red zone. When they do get in the red zone, Danny Dimes is going to vulture a lot of the touchdowns. This guy's going to have to live off of big yards, receptions, tons of targets, low efficiency, low conversion rate, and do it all himself and carry everything on his own back. And that scares me in terms of injury. They need a quarterback. And as I said yesterday, and I stand by this, the Giants should be ashamed of themselves. The Raiders should be for not going after Joe Milton. As I said in the draft, Rattler, Joe Milton, teams that missed out on the big dogs should be taking stabs at Joe Milton and Rattler. Hell, I'd draft both of them. If I'm the Giants or the Raiders, I'd draft Rattler and Joe Milton. But what do these two teams do? Nothing. Let's go ahead and roll. We're so good at football. We're so good at decision making. We're a raw team. I'm Alex Pierce. I'm gonna go ahead and excite everybody about how I coach this team. And Pierce is maybe an exciting guy when you hear him talk and hype the players up, but he crapped the bed hardcore. And I don't want to hear maybe he doesn't have decision making. Then that's his fault. If you don't have control over what you're building, how are you getting a pass on that? I'm not saying that that's the case anyway. I'm just saying that some of the excuses I've heard is that he doesn't call the shots. Well, he should. And if he agreed to coach his team and not have decision making, then he's going to fail, because you can't do well and build a team off somebody else's ideas. So the fact that Joe Milton sitting over there on the Patriots roster looking better than Drake May to a lot of people. I'm not saying that that's absolutely the consensus, but it is exciting, in my opinion, to be a Patriots fan a little bit right now, because they don't get a lot of excitement. It's been a while. But you've got two quarterback options, and you're hearing great things about the second guy, and you just wonder where it's going to lead to. And this is a smart move by the Patriots. They doubled up at wide receiver, took Polk and Javon Baker. I like Baker more. They doubled up at quarterback. They took Drake May and Joe Milton. I'm not saying I like Joe Milton more, but for some reason he intrigues me. And I think that teams messed up hardcore by not going after Rattler and Joe Milton. And Fields. And Fields is already doing exactly what we predicted he would do, and he's doing it right away.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, buddy.
I still wish the Patriots took Fields and then drafted Marvin Harrison.
It was so
That's what I wanted the whole time.
I'm not saying
I don't know.
sure.
I don't know why they didn't.
I'm not saying it'll for sure work out, but it was so easy to see coming. Like, what do we?
That'd be the move.
I mean, Russell Wilson, everybody's making excuses saying he did the sled the other day. That's why he woke up sore. But he woke up with an injury. He woke up with it. He woke up with an injury. He's sitting there with the little cavi poo strain, watching Fields, who towers over him, you know, when they stand side by side, because Russell Wilson's smaller. You know what they say about, like, elections and you know, races to you know, see who's going to be the CEO, that height wins? Like, you see Russell Wilson and Fields standing next to each other, and you just see Fields tower over him. I believe Fields is 6'4". Ziggy, how tall is Justin Fields? I think he's 6'3" or 6'4".
Justin Fields weighs 227 pounds and is 6 feet 3 inches tall.
He's a unit! He's a unit! Ziggy, how tall is Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson weighs 206 pounds and is 5 feet 11 inches tall.
5 foot 11? This is like, we're talking about a difference of like this. 6'3", 220 pounds versus a 203, 5'11". Fields of dreams, baby. Fields of mother freaking dreams.
Leave it on the fields.
Just in time.
Fields of dreams.
Fields like making love.
Outstanding in his fields.
Fields so good.
Fields general. My fields good. Uneven playing fields.
Battlefields tested.
Fields. Fields. He's for reals.
All right, boys. I'll see you later. Appreciate you.
All
right, later, guys. I'll be back. I'll be back for a show tonight. See you all later. Appreciate all the super chats, everybody. You guys rock. I think there's one more here from Ray G. If MHJ falls, okay, I got that one already. I'll see you all tonight. Appreciate every single one of you. Jahmyr Gibbs to the moon. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10.
Got him.
Hi, my name is B. John Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring
Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, live when big news breaks. Also, additionally, live most midnights at midnight Eastern. And here is the link. So if you want to play Underdog Fantasy, hit this promo code now. The link is in the description of the video if you're watching a replay. But the link has been dropped in the live chat right now. Here's the link one more time. I'll keep dropping it a couple times as we move on out of here. Hit that link, do it live. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the thumb up button on the way out the door. Smack it, and then make sure you click that link and get into the stream. Here's the link one more time. Get into the stream tonight by just going to the YouTube channel when we're live around midnight Eastern. But if you're signed up on Underdog here, you'll be ready to draft. And when I say jump in, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you got to hit that link, download the Underdog app. Let's go. Appreciate you all. Thank you to my super chatters tonight. You guys absolutely rock. We had Mark Cleveland with the $20 hauler. We had Terry, Ray G, Nate, appreciate you being here, bro. Snoopy, Bryson, Terry Roberts, Neon, appreciate Neon. Ethan with the 20 wad. TH, rock out. Neon with that 20. Mark Cleveland, again, thank you. Glenn, appreciate your double. Ryan, John, Roy, rock out. Jonathan, and Kilpatrick. See you all tonight.